Hello YouTube. Today's story is going to be on this 2013 Hyundai Veloster, simple 4-cylinder engine in it. I'll show you the symptom of the problem and what we're going to do to fix it. Now, just to go over a little history on this, this car came in with misfires on cylinders 1 and 3 with over 100,000 miles. My son doesn't know of any time that the ignition coils were changed, so it seemed pretty simple. You know, we were having misfires on a couple of cylinders. It's an older car, so we went out and bought 4 new ignition coils for it, installed them. It ran a little better, but by the time we backed it down to the end of the driveway, it was stalling. So that led us to look at some other things. Then we rechecked the codes, and the codes now were all cylinders are misfiring. So the situation got worse, and since it stalled at the end of the road and it felt just like it ran out of fuel, went ahead and suspect that the gas direct injection fuel pump is not working as it should. So we've ordered a new one. I'll show you what the car sounds like, and then we'll get to the repair.
Exactly accurate. Okay, I'm just gonna start it. Just let it.
Okay, you can hear this thing is misfiring all over the place. It is running rough, and then it's going to stall out. All right, there you go. That's the problem. All right, so here's the plan. There are 2 bolts that hold the pump onto the camshaft. So there's one over here, and there's one over here, probably look like 10 millimeter. There's one electrical connection that'll be disconnected, and then 2 fuel lines. The one fuel line coming in, which will just pull back this plastic clip here and release that. That'll be coming from the fuel tank, and then the high pressure side, which is going to the engine, to the injectors. I don't think there's much else to do on this. We haven't gotten the part yet, so we're still waiting, but we'll go ahead and take this off because it's supposed to be here today. All right, guys. Well, I got it off camera. I had to struggle with this thing a little bit. Let's look inside it. Okay, I don't see, there must be some kind of tabs in there that it grabs onto. Oh, they're right there. So this has got to be, this plastic has got to be pushed, you know, in as far as you can get it to cover up, to go over those tabs that are sitting in there. And what I used was, this was a removal tool for clips on interior doors and stuff like that. And I just was able to kind of wedge it in between the plastic and that thing, and I just pushed it back. I just used the leverage of this tool and pulled it back, and it came off. So I don't think there's really any damage to the clip. I guess we'll know for sure when we go to put this all together. Now it's just a matter of removing this bolt here, take the high pressure off, and then the two things that hold the pump on, and then we'll be good to go. Okay, and that was a 19 millimeter to get that fuel line off.
Okay.
All right, just let it sit like that. And it looks like 10 millimeters.
That's tightening, ain't it? It's not. It's too big.
All right, let's just look at any unusual wear under there. Okay, That looks okay. Let's see what we can see on the cam follower. I'll need to get a light. All right, the new pump's here. Check that O-ring. O-ring looks okay. We'll just have to remove, there's a plastic cover on the old one. We can transfer it over to this electrical connection. And other than that, it looks like it's ready to go on. So let's get it ready to put on. Okay, we lubricated the O-ring and put on some oil on the follower on the bottom of the oil or on the fuel pump. And now we're just going to get ready to tighten up and hook everything up. We're not going to kill it. They're not huge bolts, but we're going to snug them up. Choke up a little bit on that handle. I don't want you putting a tremendous amount of torque on there. Not big bolts.
Nope.
If you choke up on it so you can't put too much torque on it. Nope, I wouldn't do it like that. Just, okay, that's enough. That's enough.
And do this side.
And these are small bolts. We don't want to overdo it. Okay, that's it. All right.
Plug these things in.
Yeah. Go ahead and push that fuel on. Trying to get this done before the rain starts coming down on us.
Yeah, it's pretty bad out. Okay. How does this just
push it on? No, leave that. Yeah.
How tight do you want this?
We don't need to kill it, but all right, that'll be enough. That'll be enough. We'll check it for leaks. If it leaks, we'll tighten it up more. All right. That feels like it's on, I guess.
That's weird. I don't know why it's so loose now, you know, unless it's supposed to be like that.
No, it's over the hump. We'll see. Okay, so just turn on the key.
It would turn on and off both times. I can actually turn on the car.
No, don't turn it on to start it, but turn on, well, I guess you can only push it.
Yeah, I'm going to push it on to the on position.
All right. Turn the light on.
Yeah,
so I
so,
can see.
yeah, no, if it leaks or whatever.
All right, I seen the fuel pressure come on because the fuel line moved. I don't, but don't worry about that yet.
It doesn't look like it's leaking.
It doesn't look like it's leaking.
Turn it off?
Yeah.
Oh.
You want me to turn it on?
Yeah, go ahead. All right, go ahead. Start it up.
Start it up. Come on,
Hold on. Let's let it run some, see if we can get some fuel through this thing.
Yeah.
Hold on. Hold on.
Come on, car. Come on. Don't die on us. Come on. You can do it.
Go ahead, hit it again. All right, let's. All right. The only thing we didn't really check besides multiple misfires are the input fuel. You know it's getting fuel. The good thing is it isn't leaking. So I don't see any leaks. Still doesn't mean we have fuel pressure up to here. It still feels fuelish. All right, let's check, see if we have any new codes. All right, well, a lot's happened since you last joined us. The last time we put on this high pressure fuel pump, tested it out, and we didn't get quite the result that we wanted. So the engine was still stalling, stumbling a little bit. So I went ahead and measured the fuel pressure by removing this line right here and plugging it into a older style. I ended up filming the wrong gauge that I used for checking fuel pressure. I just grabbed the case because I hadn't done it right then. I grabbed the case for the older style engines that have low pressure fuel systems, like this car here that runs, 5 to 7 pounds of fuel pressure. This one here is for fuel injected cars. It won't measure the GDI engines as far as the direct injection part of it, but it will measure the feed going to it, which the low pressure fuel pump that comes out of the fuel tank sends somewhere between 60 to 80 pounds. I don't know the exact, but more than 30. And that's what this gauge was showing, that we were getting 30 plus pounds to the car, which wasn't enough for the direct, for the high pressure fuel pump. So I couldn't get an exact reading just because there's no way that I could take that connector that comes off the high pressure fuel pump and get an absolute tight seal. But I was able to get one that was close enough, and it was showing me around 30 pounds. So I knew that that was too low, which is why we changed that pump in the back. I also wanted to go over another test that we did, which was a compression test, because when you start going down this road, you want to make sure you're dealing with a good engine. So we ran a compression test on the engine. We got 167 pounds on cylinder 1, and then every other cylinder, 2 through 4, we're running 162 to 160. So we knew we had an engine with good compression, and there's a way to tell what this value should be, looking at the gauge based on what the compression ratio is of the car. And I'll put that up there in 160. I think this car was either 10 to 1 or 11 to 1. I can't remember. I think 10 to 1. And there's a formula to tell you what the PSI should be based on. A new fuel pump, low pressure fuel pump in the fuel tank underneath the rear seat in the car. And unfortunately we didn't film that. It was later in the night when we did it, so we didn't do that. But so I apologize for that. Then we ordered the new Bosch fuel things, because let me see if I got an old one here. All right, so this is an old one, and you may be able to see how bad these tips are, and they all look like that. They're all covered. You can't even really see the squirt holes in them. So most likely that was the problem. But since now we could have just cleaned these up and put them back in there, but that wouldn't have been any good, because those fuel injectors have like 110,000 miles on it. So since we had the engine opened up, it just made more sense to go ahead and get the fuel injectors. So these are brand new Bosch fuel injectors. They're exactly the same as the original ones that were in there. Now on the original, you'll notice that this one here had a rubber gasket on it, like a one you use on the AC system. That's the way we found it. All the other ones had this black gasket on it right here. So I took these off because that's a kind of like a hard rubber, and it fits exactly to the thing. So I got 3 of them that have the same hard rubber on them, and one that doesn't. Now the one that didn't, there was some head work that was done on here on this vehicle by the dealer, and when they did it, they must have lost one of these and put this green one on over here. So I got a newer green one and I put it on there. And then these are the pieces that are for the injector, to help hold the ejector in the right position on the fuel rail, which is over here. So we cleaned up the fuel rail. We'll go ahead and put the fuel injectors in. Now there was one thing I wanted to touch on. All right, so I had to run out and get the tool, but I wanted to cover a couple of things. When we bought this, based on the videos that we saw on the web, we thought we might need this tool here, which is an installer. This actually installs the Teflon seal that you see right here, this little black seal. We didn't know when we bought these whether or not that seal would be on there. You use this to kind of lay against there and then push that new seal up on there. And once the new seal's there, you got to flatten it down with a tool like this. So we couldn't tell us, and the people that sold us the stuff wouldn't be able to tell us whether or not that had all been done. Well, I can tell you that it all was done. These came with the new seal on them, and they are already crushed down. So Jared, hold this. So the way that you do this is once that seal is on there, you kind of place this device over top of it, and it wouldn't fit like that if it wasn't already pre-crushed. So that's exactly the way they fit when we got them. One more thing I wanted to cover with you is the actual part number of what we bought. So this is a 2013 Hyundai Veloster. That is the part numbers we bought. Bosch replacements. They weren't too bad. Yeah, it's a base motor. It's not turbo. And okay, so we're gonna put these fuel injectors on the rail, put the rail back in the car, and then put the intake manifold on. So as you look at this job, it's not super hard to get apart and to get to this far, and we'll try to film it here to put it back together. So okay, let's get started.
It's recording.
Yeah. All right, a little bit of oil right on the armpit, right on my finger. All right. We'll just put a little bit of oil on these O-rings. It's a little bit of light motor oil. Okay, the electrical connectors down there, so we're gonna put them in here. Oh, give me that one of those containers. Yeah. Slide it over. So no, slide it on the lifter. I think it goes the other way, so those will be touching. Yeah, like that. So they go on there. Yeah. And then these go in here. Won't be so easy. All right.
Nice.
That's one. We'll worry about connecting them in a minute. Other way. Yeah, that's right.
Well, I know, but you need the thing.
Yeah. Okay.
You touch that thing just a little bit, it comes out. You see that? That seals it. No?
Yeah. No. Ready? There you go.
Well, I know, but it looked like it was like ripped or something. It looked
No,
like...
each one of those is like that. That's the way they are. They could only get them
Oh
all.
yeah, they do look. Okay, I thought
Yeah.
that thing was ripped.
Yeah, it looks like it's cracked. There's a little silver seal right below the blue. There's a blue plastic little clip right below this blue O-ring, and it's cracked in half because they had to crack it in half to get it on there, or it's just needed for some reason. I don't know what. Okay, there's all the injectors. Like I said, 3 of them have the black one on it, one has the green one on it. That's the way we got them. We'll connect these injectors up and then put them into the head.
Jesus, you need ear protection when you use this.
All right, now these are 12 millimeters. I don't have torque specs for them, so I'm just gonna, first of all, I'm just gonna snug them all in there a little bit. Pull them down kind of evenly. Hit bottom. Took a little while to rotate them to the point where they were bottoming out, or at least the rail, fuel rails bottoming out on the head. All right. So I'm just giving them a quick snug. Everything's aluminum, fuel rails steel. We don't want to get crazy with these. They're 12 millimeter. We're not going to take a ton of torque, but enough to snug them. Okay, now let's put that clip on. This had a safety thing on here that, you know, wrapped around. We'll put that back on there, and then we'll just make sure we got this out of the way so we can wrap it back in again. Okay.
Safety thing?
All right, it's a tie. And there's the end of it that clips in there. A tie wrap.
19. I got a 20 if you need it.
No,
This is good.
all right. We don't want any leaks out of there, and we don't see any kind of gasket used. All right, I'll cover
I'm just gonna plug everything up here.
one thing with you, just to kind of a bonus, so you can see, you know, where the starter is. So let me bring you back here a little bit. So here's the fuel rail. Here's the 4 bolts that I put on. Here's the connector for the fuel rail that I just hooked up. I just wanted to point out, here's your starter down here. So in case you ever wondered where it was, and I was telling Jared we're gonna have to clean this MAF sensor before we put it back together. So, because it's been sitting down here and it's a little dirty down there. All right, so that's what it looks like here. Next thing to go on is the manifold, and then that's really it. The manifold holds.
By the air filter.
Yeah, the air filter
belts back
assembly.
on.
Yeah, but that's minor stuff. As far as the engine goes, the manifold will be it, and it'll hold most electrical connectors and all the sensors. So let me get seated back up here. Okay. Easy as you go there. We don't want that. That's where the air is coming in, so
that's
that
gonna be
goes
this
that way.
Okay, I see this.
Just look at where this connector. I think it's these bolt. Let me look. These connectors are down here. So, right here. I don't know if there was one here, but there's a few connector points down here that we had to jack the car up to get out. So, I'm hoping that's coming out. All right, let's stick this down in there.
On this right down here.
Okay. All right. Screws. Get all the bolts. Just run them in there enough that they're catching, but they're not.
How many is there?
You know,
two?
no. There's 2 nuts and 1, 2, 3 bolts.
So underneath the car here, there are these connectors that you will be needing to connect back up into the intake. There are also some clamps up there that you will have to put together. They just go through it, and once you get it through, it's good. I'm talking about, this sucks. I'm gonna have to do this in like takes or something. But there's these clamps you gotta feed the hoses through. Those just go through it, and it'll seat these in position. There's also a rail right here that this white plastic clip sits on. You just need to slide it on, and then this will sit still for you, and then that'll be good.
So we have this mass airflow cleaner, and the button's it's nothing shooting out. I got at least a half a can here. So I'm gonna show you a quick and easy way to like repressurize this can. So there's the thing that's on it. I'm just gonna put this nozzle on it. I'm gonna push down and give it some air. You can hear that air going into the can. And now it works. There you go, buddy. Okay, now we're gonna clean the mass air pressure sensor here because it goes into the intake. All right, you sure that's clean? Look at it. Make sure the end is clean. Okay.
You gonna spray more?
No, I just want to make sure
It's clean it off?
Well, go ahead and shoot it again. Just.
Well, I want to clean off the pair of towels. Some shit on there, I see.
All right.
Should I?
Yeah, go ahead.
I'll wipe
Be
it off.
careful. Careful with it.
All right.
Get that gasket clean. That rubber seal.
Spins and spins and spins.
Didn't you say your package was coming via
I already got it.
post office?
I already got it. I just put it inside. That's why I went inside.
So where's the rest of the mail?
Joe,
It was FedEx.
FedEx.
You told me it was coming through
We're
the post
busy!
office.
All right.
It came FedEx.
Joe, there's another package. I wasn't expecting that one.
Oh, okay.
Okay, so now we're going to put
Well,
that.
should we retake everything?
You can clean out that hole. That's all I want you to do. Okay, we had to take this off briefly because we forgot to put this foam piece down here that goes over top of the injectors. It's kind of like a heat seal. So we just pulled the injector bolts or the intake manifold bolts off. 2 nuts and 3 screws, and that's it. So we're about to put it back on. Go ahead, Jared. Stick it back on.
What is this?
That's your injector line. Pick it up. There you go. There you go.
All right, cool.
All right, and we didn't have to redo the bolts on the bottom, so
Thank God.
yeah. So now we'll just get back to where we were. All right, well, it's all together now. We're gonna do a test run. We cleaned out the throttle body there, and just hooked up the battery. I left the air box out of here. There's no electrical connections or air connections other than from there to there for the fuel or for the air. I just want to be able to see from here whether the fuel's leaking anywhere.
You ready?
Yeah, go ahead. Fuel leak down here or anything, so that'll be good. Alright, it's definitely running better, and it can definitely not idling too bad.
What is that?
The fuel, there's no cover over here, so we got to see if there's an air leak there or not. So we'll see if anything's leaking. I hear a leak, but I don't know if it's coming from here, like a vacuum leak. So let's see what's going on. Don't worry about that piece. You're going to put the piece that has the bolts in it.
Well, this goes.
Yeah, that goes on.
Why doesn't I go there? Unless it goes like this.
Okay, How do those two connect each other? Oh, so it comes in from there.
They're fine.
out
They're fine.
there.
Don't touch it.
Yeah, that's why. Yeah, it's okay. I see how it goes. Just put that together. I think this is running.
No, it's fine.
All right, so airbox is back on. This PVC, whatever it is, suction thing is on there. So let's see how it idles now. Go ahead, start it. Right here, I found it.
Got it?
Yeah, but it's not on. But that's the problem right there. It's moved right out.
Well, it sounds a lot better.
Yeah, this line has to go on, so...
You want me to turn it off? Well, that sounds a lot quieter.
The ticket, there was a vacuum line off down here, which you could really hear it, but I couldn't see it. It was underneath this hose here. Let me show you. Alright, so I had a vacuum leak right down here. It's going to be kind of hard to see down there, but right there. So I plugged it, put the hose back on it, and this engine seems to be running pretty good. So we'll just take it out for a test drive. All right. Okay, so we started running out of things to look at, and the only thing that we really hadn't gone after, we had cleaned these spark plugs, but then we needed to check them again to find out why we still had a misfire. So here, this plug, as you can see, is still pretty clean. There's a little bit of black on it, but basically that's the way that we cleaned it, put it back in here. Then you can see every other plug after running the engine was running, or was working, all except for this one. The other issue was we had left one of the sensors unplugged. We didn't realize that, and that was also causing a problem. So we reconnected the sensor, put in 4 new plugs, and now we're golden. So let's take a look at the engine running, and then I'll wrap it up. All right, I just wanted to cover now what the connection was that we missed. So there was the connection right there that we missed, that we didn't catch. And of course, we already have the new spark plugs in there. So if we can start the car now and just kind of verify what we're seeing. Okay, we also adjusted the, after we adjusted when the car was running, the belt on here so it wouldn't squeal with the AC. AC just came on now, so you're not hearing any squeals, and you're seeing the car engine just purr. I didn't take it out, but my son did, and everything is running fine. So I cleared the codes again. No codes have come back. The spark plugs, well, there was a couple of codes for this sensor, and the misfires continued until we replaced the plugs. But that's all done, and so we're good now. No codes have resurfaced as of yet. Yeah, there's still a couple of things to do. This battery is kind of old, so that's going to get replaced. And outside of that, If you have any questions, let me know on this. It's not my car, it's my son's, but if there's anything that comes up, drop your comments down below. All right, guys, let me wrap up. The last thing I wanted to go over was the misfires we had after the engine was done. My son was in a hurry and he didn't really want to spend the time to do this. He felt these plugs had been in there for a couple of years and they needed, why not change them? So that's what he did. But let's cover what you should do. The first thing I did was, this is the plug that we felt wasn't working because it just wasn't getting dirty at all when the car was running. You can see, hopefully maybe, that these 3 spark plugs were working a little harder than this one was. So to test these, the first thing you do is just clean these off. Now, running these test leads on there is difficult, and I've already pre-cleaned these. But that's all I do really, is I knock off a layer. I want to get this electrode, whoops, and maybe I should get a little more light. I wanted to get this electrode clean so that I can come in here and touch it with the end of this. And there's no way that I'm going to get this underneath that electrode, so I'm going to have to hit it from the side unless I want to pin that back, and I didn't feel like doing that. So I want to get it clean on this side so that I can get in there good with this. All right, so that's what we're going to do now. Now a good plug should be somewhere between, I think like somewhere between 5 and 15 ohms. So we're going to turn the meter on, set it to ohms, which is this horse-shaped thing. Now I know some guys have the older style that does not have auto ranging like this one does, but this is auto ranging, so that's how it's going to sit. And then I just added this attachment onto the thing so I don't have to hold that lead. I put that lead on here, I checked that, and I'm getting 8.74, so that is right where you want it, so that plug is good. Check this one, that plug's within range. Check this plug, within range. Check this plug. Okay, so all these plugs showed in range. The only thing that I can say is that he should have spent more time cleaning them up, but he didn't. He put new ones in there. We had 2 cylinders that were showing misfires, but after he changed the plug, they were just fine. So he could have saved some money on that, but spark plugs, well, they're a little pricey. Shouldn't break the bank. So yeah, that's what we did there. To wrap up this video, I think there was 2 main areas of concern on this car. One was the fuel system. That's where the majority of the problem was. And there's 3 main components in that fuel system: the low pressure pump, the high pressure pump, and the injectors. I think all 3 were degraded and not working optimally. We ended up replacing all 3 of those components. Also, second, on the electrical system, I think that both components, both the coil packs and the spark plugs, may have contributed to it also. So you had multiple factors that all ended up in a poorly running engine. So one of the other things we knocked out of the way was looking at the compression, making sure that we had good compression. We knew that we had had a valve job done on that motor a while ago because of excess oil burning. So the valves had been already taken care of, and the compression showed that the valves were working fine and the piston rings were okay too. So knowing that, we went ahead and moved forward with replacing some of these parts. Did you have to replace everything? Maybe not, but he spent somewhere in the neighborhood of, I would say, I think it was around, let's just call it $500. $500, he replaced the entire fuel system and the sparking system, the ignition system on the car. Now that's done, we're not going to have to worry about it, and hopefully for a long time. Because if you just start replacing 1 or 2 parts on and on a car like this that's right on the borderline of having other issues, you could be fixing and fixing and fixing the car because you replaced one coil pack, then the next one goes. You replace one injector, then another one goes. You should probably do those in sets. So you get all the injectors done, you get all of the ignition coils done, and then you're just stuck between fuel and plugs, really, as long as your compression's okay. So that's the way we looked at it. We spent the money, got all those parts done. He's using the car, he needs to use that car every day to go to school. I can't have it, for his sake, breaking down all the time, and for my sake too, because I don't want to spend every one of my weekends working on this car. So that is some of the rationale that went into this. You know, if you found this video useful, please remember to subscribe and share. You know, it really goes a long way into helping me motivate to record all this stuff. So I hope to see you in the next video. Ciao.